Tonight on Texas News Channel, an
More,
update on President Trump's COVID diagnosis
more on Ruth Bader Ginsburg's Supreme Court replacement.
and a follow up on straight ticket voting in Texas.
You're watching Texas News Channel.
Your leader for live local UT coverage. Welcome to Texas News Channel. For Tuesday, October 6th, I'm Cassidy Ellison.
And I'm Megan Fee. Thank you for joining us tonight.
News shocked the world last week as President Trump announced he tested positive for the coronavirus. TNC's Carolyn Diaz investigates President Trump's current health condition and how he came in contact with the virus.
Near midnight on Thursday, October 1st, President Donald Trump announced that he and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for COVID-19. Trump was flown to Walter Reed Medical Center during the evening of October 2nd after having a high fever and experiencing a drop in his blood oxygen level.
I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out.
The president has since been given multiple treatments, such as a dose of an experimental polyclonal antibody cocktail, a 5-day treatment of remdesivir, and is on dexamethasone therapy until further notice.
The fact of the matter is that he's doing really well. That he is responding, and as the team said, if everything continues to go well, we're going to start discharge planning back to the White House.
Trump experienced a second drop in his blood oxygen levels on Saturday, where it decreased to 93% in comparison to the normal 95%. Dr. Sean Conley, the physician to the president, stated on Sunday that his oxygen levels have since increased up to 98%. Later in the day on Sunday, President Trump left the medical center in an SUV to greet supporters waiting outside the hospital to show the public that he is doing well. Within the president's inner circle, 14 people and counting have now tested positive for COVID-19. One of the individuals positively tested for COVID-19 is former White House counselor Kellyanne Conway. Conway attended the Rose Garden event on September 26, where many attendees did not wear masks nor practice social distancing. Before she could announce the results of her test herself, her daughter, Claudia Conway, took to TikTok her skepticism of her mother's first apparent symptoms.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Kellyanne Conway confirmed her results on Twitter minutes after the TikTok went live on Friday night. After being hospitalized for 3 days, President Donald Trump was discharged from the Walter Reed Medical Center on late Monday evening. With coronavirus still active and highly contagious, we at the Texas News Channel want to remind you to wear your mask, wash your hands, and don't forget to keep social distancing. Carolyn Diaz, Texas News Channel.
In the wake of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing, the Republican-controlled Senate, led by Mitch McConnell, moved swiftly to find a successor to fill her seat. On September 26th, President Trump announced Amy Coney Barrett as his pick for the position. Reporter Josh Fowler tells us about this and COVID developments that could impact the confirmation process.
She is eminently qualified for the job.
Last Saturday, in the White House Rose Garden, Amy Coney Barrett of the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals was formally introduced as the nominee to succeed Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This sets up a bitter fight in the Senate over her confirmation in the final month leading up to the 2020 general election. The conservative-leaning judge served as a clerk for the late Antonin Scalia, and if she is confirmed, this would ensure Trump's legacy is felt for generations. This would be the third justice with a lifetime appointment he has picked for the Supreme Court. Many on the left, including presidential candidate Joe Biden, have said that the confirmation hearings should be put off.
The Senate has to stand strong for our democracy. They must not act on this nomination until the American people finish the process they're already begun of selecting their president and their Congress.
It appears that Mitch McConnell has the votes he needs to push through the confirmation, but recent developments may slow things down. This past Thursday evening, the president tested positive for COVID-19 after one of his close aides tested positive. Then, one after one, those in the president's inner circle also tested positive. It appears that the Rose Garden nomination announcement, where many attendees were maskless, was a so-called super spreader event, And now, even senators on the Judiciary Committee overseeing Barrett's confirmation process have also tested positive. This turn of events was surely unexpected for Republican senators, and what result, if any, it has on the confirmation hearing remains to be seen. Josh Fowler, Texas News Channel.
Last Wednesday, a U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals overturned a ruling that would have allowed straight ticket voting in Texas this November. Straight ticket voting was originally banned by a 2017 law, though the law faced challenges earlier this year. Texans will no longer be able to vote for every candidate of a major party with a single punch and will now have to vote for individual candidates.
JP Udenenwu discovered his passion for pancakes while working at a taco cabana in 2015. He discovered this atmosphere of pure joy in his cooking when he made pancakes for his coworkers. He made it his mission to pursue this passion, and in mid-January of 2020, he opened the food truck JP's Pancake Company in West Campus. This recent trend in the hashtag support Black businesses impacted the truck's revenue, but JP commented that although the motive was good, it essentially turned into a photo op. JP wishes that the same positive atmosphere continues to be found at his pancake truck and holds a commitment to do the best with what he has.
The grand jury released 15 hours of recordings of the Breonna Taylor case this Friday, allowing the public to see what was presented in court. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron has picked apart the case to see why the 3 officers who fired into Taylor's apartment were not rightfully charged.
And that's another shot of Miss Taylor, wounds she received, the wounds on her lower arm, upper arm, her hip area.
And 38.
A little different angle of the wound she received her right foot, but it shows the exit wound.
30.
Taylor's family and supporters have criticized Cameron after the charges against police officer Hankison were announced. Many have voiced their opinions, saying they do not believe the Attorney General advocated on behalf of Taylor. Family and supporters have urged prosecutors to release the transcript and more information of the case.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has been accused of improper influence, abuse of office, bribery, among other things, by his top aides. Federal law enforcement authorities have been asked to investigate Paxton's actions in a letter sent by 7 executives in Paxton's office. Paxton released a statement on Saturday saying his office is planning on investigating these claims to the fullest extent of the law.
This past Saturday, the Texas Longhorns lost against the TCU Horned Frogs with an end score of 33-31. UT students who have the big ticket were granted admission to the student section upon receiving a negative COVID-19 test. 12 students tested positive out of the 1,000 plus tests that were administered this last week. There is not a negative test requirement for the game attendees who are not UT students. This upcoming weekend, the Longhorns are scheduled to play the Oklahoma Sooners in the Cotton Bowl Stadium in Dallas, otherwise known as the Red River Showdown.
Current Republican Vice President Mike Pence will be debating Democrat candidate Kamala Harris in the upcoming vice presidential debate this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. There's still speculation up in the air if the debate will be still taking place tomorrow evening due to President Trump's COVID-19 diagnosis. The debate is scheduled to take place at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City and will run for an hour and a half. The moderator will announce the 9 topics that will be discussed during the debate between the 2 VP candidates.
Since the start of the pandemic, many Austin restaurants in the UT area and in West Campus have had difficulties with business. Many have had no choice left but to shut down. West Campus restaurant Sushi Nicki made an announcement they will be closing in October, after 14 years of serving sushi to UT students. Frontline Foods, an organization that has been partnering with Austin restaurants to support them during the pandemic, will continue to do what they can for these local businesses so restaurants like Sushi Nicki aren't forced to close.
In places like Harris County, there are typically 12 mail-in ballot drop locations. However, in counties all across Texas, this has been limited to 1 location after a proclamation issued by Governor Abbott. The move, seen by critics as restricting access to voters, is being defended as necessary for ballot security.
Coming up on Texas News Channel, Alexa Sherry will be bringing you up to date on the world of business.
So stay tuned, and we will catch you after the break.
Welcome back to Texas News Channel. The market has been through some turmoil since last week. U.S., European, and Asian stock markets took a loss Friday after President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump reported testing positive for COVID-19. Oil prices have also seen a 3% decline following the announcement. Experts say this dip is due to the uncertainty of the situation, and future stock predictions depend on the president and his cabinet's condition. Worldwide stock markets are keeping a careful eye on Trump's health and the upcoming election. The United States is facing long-term unemployment as millions of people who lost their job around March during the beginning of the pandemic have been out of work for more than 6 months. The Labor Department announced on Friday that 2.4 million people have been out of work for more than 27 weeks, the threshold to define long-term joblessness. Minorities have been most affected by unemployment, and it is taking them longer to go back to work. Economists warn it will take a while for our economy to go back to normal until the virus is under control. Blue chip companies have been laying tens of thousands of workers off over 24-hour time periods as the U.S. labor market starts to enter an abyss as a result of the pandemic. Last week, companies such as Disney announced it's slashing 28,000 workers in its U.S. resort business. The following day, the Allstate Corporation said that it will cut 3,800 jobs, which is 8% of the company's workforce. Both United Airlines and American Airlines have issued furlough notices to more than 32,000 employees as the Federal CARES Act payroll support program has just expired. I'm Alexa Sherry, reporting live from the Business Center. Now back to you.
Will this beautiful weather be here to stay this week? Claire Stevens will let you know after the break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Texas News Channel. We're heading into the third week of fall, though you certainly wouldn't know it from these warm, sunny days we've been having. Be sure to take advantage of this beautiful weather and try to get outside as it continues this week. On Tuesday, the high is 87 with an overnight low of 60 degrees. Tomorrow, expect those sunny skies to stay and a high of 88 with a low around 60 going into Wednesday night. Thursday and Friday, expect more of that beautiful weather with clear skies. Highs in the high 80s and lows in the 60s. This weekend, we can expect to see that temperature rise up just a little more with highs in the low 90s and lows in the mid 60s. That's all from me, live from the Weather Center. I'm Claire Stevens.
Thanks, Claire. And now looking at UT sports. This past Saturday, the Texas Longhorns dropped a close game against the TCU Horned Frogs in Austin. After a close back-and-forth contest, TCU ultimately pulled away with the 33-31 win. Clark Dalton has more from the game.
Victory was within the Texas Longhorns' grasp on Saturday. The win inched away in a 33-31 defeat against TCU, marking Texas' first loss of the season. Several moments highlighted the Horns' skill, talent which drives hopes sky high every year. Those glimpses were wiped away by 12 penalties for 92 yards. Some were questionable, including an illegal man downfield when Christian Jones was mere yards away from the line of scrimmage. This erased a 28-yard gain by Alvante Woodard, dashing the Longhorns' chance at a 5-point lead. This left Texas looking for an explanation.
I don't have a better adjective other than weird feeling down there, and it was difficult to get in a rhythm.
The Longhorns still had a chance at the end of the game. It seemed like Texas would summon fourth quarter magic again after earning their first lead with 10 minutes to go. This time, the comeback wasn't meant to be. Late game mistakes helped the Frogs wiggle away. This week, when it came down to it, the Longhorns beat themselves. Next week, when it comes to facing Oklahoma, they will want to capitalize on their opportunities rather than letting them slip through their fingers. Reporting from Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium, I'm Clark Dalton, TSTV Sports.
And joining us tonight in studio to recap the game is Hannah Burbank. Hannah, what went wrong for the Longhorns?
Thank you so much for having me, Cassidy. Yeah, it was a tough game for the Longhorns on Saturday. Texas had a variety of issues that really impacted the game for them. For one thing, the Longhorns committed 12 penalties for 92 yards in the game. That's something they're going to have to clean up moving forward and be way more disciplined about in the coming games. But it's very fixable, so it's nothing to be too concerned about right now. But Texas also had a hard time developing a consistent run game against TCU. Whether that's because of the penalties or TCU's defense, there would be some great plays, and then there would be others where no yards were gained at all. So it was kind of this all or nothing game for Texas on Saturday.
And this week, Texas plays OU at the Cotton Bowl for the 116th meeting between these two storied programs. The Red River Showdown will look a little different this year with various COVID protocols in place. Hannah, what does Texas need to do Saturday to make sure they leave Dallas with the golden hat?
Well, like I said earlier, they definitely need to clean up those penalties, as well as a few other elements of their game that was a little sloppy against TCU, like the fumbles and interceptions, for example. But it's just kind of fine-tuning certain areas that need to be corrected before playing OU. I think Texas really just needs to show up and come out strong from the start on both sides of the ball. The defense made big improvements against TCU compared to when they played Texas Tech. So making sure the defense again comes ready to play on Saturday is going to be huge for Texas. And on offense, working on establishing the run game early on and also taking advantage of their wide receivers like Jake Smith and Brennan Eagles, who are big players for Texas.
Thanks for coming on, Hannah. Up next is Nicki Miller with entertainment. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Texas News Channel. I'm Nicki Miller. Chrissy Teigen has become an important figure for mothers who have faced child loss or pregnancy complications. Last Thursday, she shared the heartbreaking news on social media of the loss of her and John Legend's baby, whom they've called Jack. Teigen has received lots of support after being so vulnerable with fans. Our thoughts are with their family during this hard time. Get cozy, Longhorns. Netflix has launched great new shows and films that are perfect for binging during this fall season. A new hot topic in the world of rom-coms is Netflix original Emily in Paris, about a Chicago girl bringing an American perspective to a French marketing firm and maybe finding love along the way. The Social Dilemma has our tech experts talking as it explores the challenges that have emerged in society due to the rise of social media. And on a more serious note, American Murder, The Family Next Door, gives an insight into the disappearance of Shannon Watts and her two daughters with archived police footage and social media posts. This past Saturday was the 46th season opener of Saturday Night Live, hosted by Chris Rock. He opened in front of a live audience that included 24 first responders, all who wore masks. The show included a reenactment of the recent debate between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Alec Baldwin played Trump and Jim Carrey performed as Biden. The show included musical guest Megan Thee Stallion, who performed her hit single Savage. She called out for the protection of Black people with the words "Protect Black women" flashing on the screen behind her. The queen of rap, Nicki MINAJ, gave birth to her first child late last week with her husband, Kenneth Petty. Details have been sparse, as Nicki has been off of social media. Nicki's mom, however, went to Instagram and congratulated her daughter on Friday. That scratched the itch so far, but I am dying to know what the baby's name is. Well, that's it for me. I'm Nicki Miller. Back to you.
Thanks, Nicki. And as always, we thank you for tuning in.
You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Texas News TSTV.
If you have a news tip, you can reach us on all social media sites or email us at texasstudenttv.com.
You can catch Good Morning Texas Wednesdays at 7 a.m. I'm Megan Fee.
And I'm Cassidy Ellison. From all of us at Texas News Channel, good night, and we'll see you next week.